Hey guys, welcome back. I'm so excited to show you my new hamster today. We're going to walk through setting up their cage step by step, and at the end, I will introduce you to him. So let's get started. The first step in setting up the new DIY cage I recently built is adding the platforms and multi-chamber hideout. These are essential for creating different levels and areas for your hamsters to explore and feel secure. The multi-chamber hut acts as their sleeping and storage area for things like food and going to the bathroom, and the platforms allow them to climb and move around freely, making great use of the space. This gives us a solid base to build the rest of the setup from. I had to get a little creative with the platforms, but I did have one arrive in the mail literally the day after I set this up, so I will replace those two stacked on top of each other with that, but it's still sturdy, so either will work. Next, it's time to layer the bedding, pressing each layer down for stability. I'm using small Pet Select white bedding for the first time. It's a bit dustier than I like, and I even found a few pieces of blue tape, which isn't great. I usually prefer KT Clean and Cozy since it's much softer and less dusty. However, I've heard some people say they found plastic in it, so I'm a bit worried about that. These are two of the more affordable bulk options, but I'm leaning towards KT based on my personal experience. If you have any suggestions, definitely let me know. I'm located in the States, so that kind of dictates which bedding I can get. I've also added bedding from my hamster's previous home to help them settle in with familiar scents. The third step is to add some of the larger items, starting with a substrate pot. I'm also adding in another substrate box, and then I'm putting in the wheel for exercise. Always double check that the wheel can freely spin and not hit any walls, which unfortunately sometimes it does get slightly moved when the hamster burrows and things, so just pushing it a little bit away from the wall can help. And then I'm adding in a large sandbox. This is one of the biggest I could find, so thank you all for some great suggestions in the comments from my previous videos. I really appreciated everyone's advice. And here I'm adding in some of the Buke Estate bedding. Buke Estate was kind enough to send us this bedding to try out, and I actually really liked it. It was super soft, so I used it for his nesting material in his multi-chamber hut. I went ahead and added in some aspen shavings and this K-cob for different substrate textures. The fifth step is to add in some hides and tunnels. So first is the grapevine wood tunnel that I'm putting in right here. Took a minute for me to figure out how I wanted to position it, just so part of it was supported by the platform. And then I'm adding in this corner tunnel, which is partly edible with a herb and flower coating. And then I have a coconut hut. For step number 6, I'm adding ramps to help my hamster access different parts of the setup. In this case, it's mainly the sandbox that needs a little extra help. I'm placing a ramp that leads right into the sandbox so my hamster can climb in easily, and adding a bendy staircase leading to the top floor of the sandbox. Later on, I actually ended up moving this bendy staircase to connect to the ramp just to make it easier for him since he's really small. I'm adding in a cork pad, and I finally get to use the new ceramic hedgehog hut, which I've been so excited and looking forward to. It's too small for Strudel, but I knew I wanted this for the new hamster. The 8th step is to add in some type of chew toy. I did not have the most organized approach for this step, so I will have some other chew toys put in later, but right now I'm just putting in a peanut mix and some seeds into a lotus pod. The next step is to add in some sprays. I'm really excited because this will be his first time having them, so I can't wait to see how he enjoys them. Sprays are fantastic because they help encourage natural foraging behavior, which is really important for a hamster's mental stimulation and physical exercise. I'm giving him a variety to choose from, such as oat, millet, hare's tail, and a few others, just so that he can pick whichever he wants and I get to learn his favorite sprays. And here I'm adding in the rest of the chew toys that I talked about. This is an edible herb lollipop, and then I'm also adding in a edible alligator for him as well. For the 10th step, I'm adding some moss on top of the bedding to give the cage a more natural feel. It helps create different textures as well. After that, I'm sprinkling some herb and flower mix around, which not only adds to the natural look, but also provides extra foraging opportunities. These touches help imitate a more natural habitat and keep things engaging. I'm quickly adding a bit of the Buca State bedding into the coconut hut, as I just forgot to put something in there. On to step 11, I'm sprinkling some seed mix around the cage. This is the Roborowski seed mix from Chubby Hamster Cheeks, and I really love this brand because they specialize the food for each of the individual species. And lastly, I'm adding in a fresh water bowl right into this compartment. Here is the final setup. Now that all of the preparations are done, it is time to bring my new Roborowski home. Had to quickly show you the little peep box in the front of the cage right here. Super cute, and I hope I see him in there. Now let me introduce you to Chip. He's a Roborowski hamster with a pied coat pattern. I decided to name him Chip because his little spots look just like chocolate chips. He's so stinking cute and pretty friendly so far. I'm giving him about a week to settle in before I start the taming process, but I will keep you guys updated. He absolutely loves his coconut hut. I have found him in it so many times. As I mentioned earlier, I moved those staircases closer to the ramp, which was a great move considering he is so tiny. Thanks so much for watching and meeting Chip. I hope you enjoyed watching his cage setup and following along with the process. If you have any questions or suggestions, drop them in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more hamster care videos, and I will see you guys in our next one.